Here we go. We're starting with fun stuff. Undertale. Yeah, I'm in the mood to read some of these out loud because, you know, I have nothing better to do
with your life.
Well, I mean, I have something better to do, but I'm not going to do it.
My mother.
Somebody's gonna be in my video by accident because I need to check this stuff to have fun. Can't be persuaded. Anyways, let's get on with this. So this focuses on the Forced God of Destruction AU that was created by on Wattpad. Their name is Harrish6, HARRISH6, and they kind of created the idea of a Forced God of Destruction. So like in the Undertale AU, Ink is the creator and Error is the destroyer, but he's not the destroyer because he wants to be, but rather because he has no other choice. So that's basically the general concept. And usually Ink is kind of mean, but I had fun changing up the name, what that is. In theory, you can still read it perfectly fine. It all still looks like the letters, but it's not because we're YouTube friendly. Woo! And couple friendly. Well, not, I don't.
You okay?
Let's get started. I really hope this isn't long.
Guess what? I'm gonna make a Werecats roleplay on top of my plot, so I'm going to get rid of this, the head shop, but I'm still gonna have heads, you know?
Alright.
Minecraft stuff.
Error sighs, walking through the destroyed world, picking up the scraps and ensuring the universe is completely gone before leaving the world quickly. He is taken to destroying fast and sloppy to avoid meeting Ink, but Ink seems preoccupied with something, so he was able to do a good job at it this time. Maybe fate will get off his back for a bit. He sighs, closing his eyes. Probably not. Error opens his eyes, sitting in the white anti-void. He grips his strings in his hand, mindlessly playing with them, his thoughts wandering back to fate, Ink, and just everything. Error remains in the anti-void for the rest of the day, night. He doesn't know anymore. Error doesn't know how things became this messed up. He looks at a puppet he made of Ink. It's one of the earliest puppets he ever made. He can even remember that day when the choices were made. Error is slowly leaving the anti-void, sneaking around to AUs to watch and see what his purpose might be. He stays hidden because he's scared nobody will look beyond his abnormal black bones. He isn't sure it is abnormal, but everyone else he's seen that's like him has white bones, so he assumes it's abnormal. He was standing in the snowy forest of one of those timelines called Underswap, mostly just watching. He jumps when a portal opens near him. He hides behind a tree as a white skeleton walks through the portal, looking around, smiling and nodding. Underswap timeline number 209 is safe and peaceful. This skeleton is oddly dressed, wearing what Error assumes is a painter's outfit. Before the skeleton leaves completely, Error suddenly calls out, "Wait!" The painter turns, and Error slowly moves from behind the tree he was hiding. I want to know my purpose. Why am I different from the others? The painter smiles, walking forward and grabbing Error's hand. Let's find out together. What is your name? Error smiles to painter, responding, Error. What's yours? Ink. The two walk through the portal and spend the entire day together, Ink thinking of different ideas for where Error came from, the latter continually struggling to connect to any of the backstories and ideas, latching onto other stories in which he would never exist, under Novella being one of these many AUs. Error's vision starts to blur, his eyes closing, the pounding in his head getting louder. He faintly hears Ink shouting his name as he closes his eyes, the world going dark. Ink picks up Error, gasping as blue strings come from Error's eye sockets and fingers, wrapping around the ideas that Error and Ink thought up to explain Error's existence. All the ideas start burning upon the strings wrapping around them. Ink's eyelids shake, and he drops Error, backing away in anger as Error slowly comes to confusion clearly on the darker skeleton. I know your purpose, and it directly contradicts mine, Error. I'm here to create and protect the universe. But you? Error's eyes widen as the words drip out of Ink's mouth, venom leaving a distasteful texture in the mouths of the two. You're only here to destroy everything. Error shakes his head as tears fall. But I entered all those worlds, and none of them died. I'm not evil. I'm not evil, I swear. The tears don't stop falling, blue tear streaks forming on the dark skeleton. I swear, I promise I'm not evil. The black skeleton's eye sockets fill with black error signs, and his body starts to glitch badly, breaking down as his emotional state is thrown down the gutter. I swear it. I can't be evil. Believe me, please. Ink closes his eyes, not crying, even as the black skeleton continues to whimper, pleading softly. Error's eyelids dim slightly before he sighs. He can't reach through Ink, so why did he think this time would be any different? Error plans on leaving a puppet of himself with a small letter that would hopefully explain the full story. Error knocks, placing the doll and the letter on the floor and teleporting home, falling asleep. Ink opens the door, huffing. Stupid ding-dong ditchers. What's this? Ink reaches down, picking up the puppet and the letter, carrying the two things inside. The puppet is obviously supposed to be Error, but Ink is far more intrigued at the letter. Ink is curious of the puppet, of course, wondering who Error had on his side that would make a puppet. Ink unfolds the letter, reading through it all, carrying it to the other Star Sanses and reading it aloud to them. Dear Ink, I suppose you were right. I am only built for destruction. It's my job. I suppose I should start from the beginning and explain my story to you. There once was a boy who was created. He had no memory of his story before this life. He wanted to learn who he was, so he visited AUs. Many. He remained hidden, subconsciously aware he wasn't normal. He was scared of being hurt. He knew nobody. One day he met someone like him, abnormal on the inside. He met the protector of the universes, who offered to help him find himself. Many ideas were proposed. With each new creation, a drum in his skull got louder, a banging drum telling him this was all wrong. Got louder with every moment. The boy, fully entranced with his new friend, ignored this pain, not noticing it. He fell in love with the AUs. He then was very tired. The pain was very hard to ignore now. He fell asleep. His dream was filled of a being telling him he had no choice. She had let him off the hook in the beginning, hoping he would naturally grow to hate the AUs and destroy them. But then he met the protector. She told him he would destroy, and if he didn't, she'd force him. He fought, said no, said he liked all the AUs. The boy woke up, blew strings from his eyes, from his fingers, tears running down his cheeks. He didn't know what he did to deserve the hatred in the eyelids of his only friend. He begged, pleaded with his friend, but his friend only saw a monster. The boy buried his emotions deep where they can't be found and used, killing needlessly and rampaging across the multiverse. But when the boy was alone, in the empty white space, he decorated, strings running everywhere, souls of humans everywhere, to restore what she made him destroy when he finally got free. He also made puppets of everyone he ever met. He learned how to use his strings like yarn thanks to another friend of his who helped calm his his rampages. Ink pauses, looking at Blue, who's not looking at Ink. Dream appears to be near tears. This boy is me. I don't know why you hate me so, Ink. I don't know why you saw a monster of me that day, but I want to talk. I want to meet. I don't want to destroy anymore. I don't want to do this job anymore. I'll have to talk big when we meet. She's always watching my back, keeping me from getting free. But no, I don't want any of what's happening to me. And I wish so badly you all could see that. Ink, you said you wanted me gone. I've tried hundreds of times, thousands of times. Nothing ever worked. I really tried. I wanted to die, but she wouldn't let me. I'm sorry I can't stop her. Can't stop myself anymore. Ink closes his eyes and Blue's the first to speak. Ink, you're a real asshole. Yeah, I'm starting to see that, but I want to fix it. Before we help Error, we need to talk to Nightmare and his group. I need to fix my mistakes there as well. Dream and Blue nod, and they head to the ruined castle in which the evil Sanses hide away. Ink knocks on the door, the three not wearing any weapons, trying to make it clear they aren't here for a fight. Thankfully, Cross, one of the least tilted evil Sanses, answers the door. You three aren't supposed to be here. Ink sighs, stepping forward, projecting his voice into the castle beyond Cross. I'm trying to make up for my mistakes. I want to make things better for everyone, and I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it right. Cross tilts his head, but looks over his shoulder, opening the door and letting us in. Ink steps in, Blue and Dream following behind as Crush shuts the door. Nightmare, his goopy form intimidating, is sitting on his throne. Dust and Horror leaning by the kitchen, while Killer is cleaning his knife at the dining room table. Horror is the first to speak and break the silence. So, you plan on fixing our issues? How? Ink smiles at Horror, opening a portal to Horror, gesturing before walking through. Skeletons all follow the painter, who has the Code of Horror tale open and is setting something up before creating it. Endless food for the people you care about. I shouldn't have made this timeline, but now that it's here, I can't just keep calling you cannibals and monsters when you live somewhere that forces you to be this way. So I'm going to fix the problem right at its source. Horror's eyes widens, tears welling up as Pappy grabs the food, enough for a week. Thank you, Ink. Ink nods. Who's next? Lust. He has a similar world issue of circumstance forcing him a certain way, only to be hurt by everyone. Ink nods, opening a portal to Underlust, pulling up the code and editing it. Lust monsters can lead to a safe pocket I'm making that is basically their world, but without people constantly trying to have sex. I can't completely change the prime timeline, but I can do big things to help. Blue Cat claps, Dream smiling at Ink. The evil Sansa's jaws drop as pretty much every major monster moves to the pocket world, except for those who have only benefited from the New World Order. Ink then turns back to the people he's helping, Dust shakily raising his hands, and the group teleports to his world. Ink opening the code, sighing softly. What do you want, Dust? Dust blinks, looking uncertainly at his hands, closing his eyes for a moment. I don't know. I want to know why. Why the constant genocides? Why the constant killing? Why the resetting to do it over and over again? I want Pappy back. I want Old Lady back. I want Undyne back. I want Alphys back. I want my home back. Ink nods and starts with the genocider, the being tied up so she can't hurt anyone. Kara, Frisk, genocider, whatever you are, Ink begins looking at them. Why did you constantly genocide? Kill everyone and do it over and over again. They giggle, sounding very creepy. Because we wanted to see something new. And you see, we did! Dusty Boy broke. He killed them all. He killed his brother. He then repeatedly killed Frisk until they lost their determination, not coming back. Ink narrows his eyes. Did Frisk do all this? Frisk started it, sure, but when I finally noticed what Frisk was looking for, I was happy to help her, at the cost of her soul. However, when Dusty Boy finally broke, he did things she didn't expect or like. So she fought, tried to be a pacifist, but you know, she had already taken things too far. We are seeing this to the end, no matter what. Ink looks at Dust, who is nearly shaking. Just destroy it. I don't care about this place. I'll find another home. Ink looks back at the human before gasping softly. For soul! Blue, can you get Error to take you to the anti-point? Blue nods. Go there and find his soul. Ink gives Blue the signature of Dust's tail Frisk's soul. Bring it here and we can give Dust his timeline back. Blue vanishes and the crew sits in the snow waiting. Blue eventually shows up, a red soul hovering in his hands. The skeleton walks up to the human, who is now visibly terrified but can do nothing as the tears start to stream. The pacifist crying. I'm sorry, Dust. I wanted to leave this whole genocide. Go back to being friends, but my determination, my curiosity, it wouldn't leave me be. And then she came onto the scene, and I could do nothing. Punishment for hurting everyone I claim to love. Dust moves forward, shaking the entire time he steps closer to the sobbing human. Dust kneels, hugging her. I forgive you, but if you ever do this again, death will be the least of your worries, I'm sure. Dust and the human look at Nightmare, who gives a sort of nod. If any problems re-arise, we'll protect our own. Killer states this, but Ink shrugs, going back into the code of the human, removing something. Ink claps, the code vanishing. I've changed the code of this world, so she physically cannot attack anyone. Check your menu, dear. The human nods, summoning her in-battle options to find the entire fight button gone. Won't that change the story? Ink nods. But I'd rather change the story than leave the temptation. The human nods, smiling. Ink smiles and the crew moves to Killer's timeline. Ink quickly doing the same, having Blue fetch the soul and removing the ability to kill from the human. He again says he'd rather the story be changed than temptation remain. Killer seems happier. Finally, the crew, noticeably smaller, gets back to Dreamtale, where Nightmare narrows his gaze at Ink. Why? Ink blinks, looking at Nightmare. Why what? Nightmare growls. Why are you helping us? You've never cared about any of us, labeling us all as monsters, demons who hurt each other, who hurt others for the sake of hurting. Ink frowns, but in an annoying way, for he knows why Nightmare said that. I know. I've done wrong by you in the past, but I want to make up for that. I want to make every world a better place. I want to make it so none of you feel like your only way out is to hurt everyone around you. Nightmare growls, his tentacles violently lashing about in the air. Why do you care about us? Is it error? What the hell changed your mind? I saw the truth. Ink's eyes well up with tears, but he shakes his head, wiping his tears away and continuing to mess with the code, his voice much quieter than before. I saw the truth, and now I'm trying to make things right, okay? He looks at Nightmare, his right pupils disconcerting and off-putting, even for the being of Nightmare fuel. Okay, the rest of the changes are enacted while a thick blanket of silence covers the entire group. Several trying to find their words, or even their voices, but Ink's curt, short answers cut off any conversation from forming. Ink closes up the code as the world drastically changed. The darkness practically purged, all damage gone from the tree. Nightmare and Dream look at each other, walking up to the tree, Ink's voice piercing their hopes. I couldn't bring her back. She's gone. Nightmare looks down, guilt covering his face. I can restore only so much, Nightmare. I'm sorry. Nightmare turns, his tentacles choking Ink, holding him in the air. I know you can do so much more. Bring her back. Ink closes his eyes. Kill me. I can't do anything else for this timeline. I've tried. That's why it took me so long to fix it all. I was trying everything I knew to fix her. But I literally couldn't. It locked me out every time I tried. Nightmare drops Ink, the goop dissolving as the one being who enjoyed causing pain is now sobbing from the truth that he can't fix everything. Dream hugs his newly reformed brother, while Blue tries to help Ink up. Ink looks away from Blue, remaining on the ground. Blue sighs, gasping as blue strings drape on the four skeletons. Ink, you got my letter? Ink slowly nods, the blue strings tightening around him in particular. I have watched as you saved them. Ink slowly nods, not moving as the strings tighten, Error finally stepping out of his portal to stand beside Ink's laying body. Why? Why did you do it? Guilt? No, you're not one to feel guilt. Ink shakes his head, muffled sounds coming from his shaking body. Ink, tell me what you expected to get out of this. Nightmare's eyes widen, Dream and Blue looking at each other. Ink had expected to get something out of this whole thing? Ink chokes on a sob, closing his eyes. I don't know. Your forgiveness, their happiness, anything? Error kneels, lifting Ink's head with 2 fingers under the latter's chin. What? Error's gaze is the most comforting and gentle and patient smile anyone could ever have. I just want to feel something for everyone. I don't want to pretend anymore. Ink's shout is punctuated by his body-racking sobs that practically rip from his body. Error pulls Ink into a hug, smiling. I already forgave you for not knowing what you were helping.
Oh, so it's like a
And I think the other evil senses forgive you too.
Yes, I'm listening. I like it.
Ink leans against Error, tears streaming down his cheeks, but his paint belt hasn't been with him this whole day. In fact, ever since Ink read the letter, his belt full of vile emotions has been nowhere near him. Ink's tears are very real. Dream looks at Nightmare, who looks hesitant. The two walk over, allowing Ink to feel without their auras, sitting down and comforting the breaking skeleton. Blue smiles from ear to ear, sitting near Error. Thank you, Error, for allowing them to see what's wrong with everything. Blue whispers to Error, and Error nods to show he heard Blue. His mist-colored eyes focused on the crying skeleton in his hold. Well, that was very long, and I had many mistakes. And I'm sorry if any of those mistakes pulled you out of the enjoyment of the chapter.
It was fucking amazing. I'm sorry.
I really liked the God story. And
I love it.
Yeah.
That's my head
I'm
canon.
going to stop the recording, and we'll move on to the next part. So I will see you in